today's video, I'm going to be cutting out 7mm Mylar Stencil plastic with my Cricut Explore 3. I'm going to be working out what settings to use and creating some files. Hi, it's Danny here from our humble home. Thanks for joining me today. So I'm going to start first on a very simple stencil design. This one here, it's sort of like just like arrows, and as you can see, it's pretty basic, and there are pretty few cuts involved in it, just because I haven't used this Mylar 7 stencil plastic before, and I want to make sure that it cuts properly before I do something really a bit more complicated and waste the plastic sort of thing. So I'm going into my Cricut Explore 3 and I am going to go into settings. I have previously done a 10mm Mylar and a 4mm Mylar, and I've worked out the settings for those. 7mm is smack bang in the middle, so I assume that the settings will sort of be half in the middle of what the other two were. So I'm doing a 3 times cut, a 350 cut pressure, and using the deep point blade. I always use a deep point blade when I cut out my stencils, and it may be a bit of over pressure, I don't know, but it always works well for me, so I'm just going to stick to that. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to take one material off just so I can add the stencil 7mm onto my list at the top, so I don't have to keep going back into it. And what I also do is move the default to more pressure, and then I will click it and we'll see how that goes. Also, one of the most important things when cutting out stencils that I have found myself is you need a strong grip mat. And my mat is getting a little bit, it's still very sticky compared to the other mats you can buy, but it isn't as sticky as it was, and that makes a huge difference when cutting, especially if you're cutting, or if I'm cutting intricate stencils. The problem is that, especially if you're doing a few passes, it can lift and the little pieces can come up, and if that gets in the way of the needle or the blade cutting other parts, then it can be a problem. So you can see, if you look closely, where the machine has cut, and to me it looks like it's worked really well. I'll just weed this off and we'll see though. Okay, so that worked perfectly. And this will make a really nice stencil that I can add to my collection. What I'm going to do now is more of an intricate design, and we'll see how that cuts. So this is the 7mm Mylar I'm using, and I bought it from Temu, good old Temu. This came in a pack of 10 pieces, and it was $6.64 for the 10 pieces, and I thought that was really, really good value actually, because you know, if you were to buy a stencil, 130 by 30 centimeter stencil, you could be paying $30 or more. So it's really good value, and especially if you think, well, I might like to sell my stencils too, it's a pretty good profit. The next stencil I'll be doing is something a little bit more intricate, well, actually a lot more intricate. It's a flower stencil, and I'm just uploading that into my Cricut Explore 3. Just making sure the mat size is correct, because I had 30 by 60 centimeter there. So that's cut, and I'm just pulling it off. Okay, so there are some little bits that haven't come out that I'll be able to push out there. It's just that up here for some reason, it didn't seem to cut properly. So you can see here, for some reason, it hasn't cut through. I may be able to cut it with a knife. We'll just see, but the rest of it's cut really well. I don't know why that was. It could have something maybe to do with the stencil itself. Let's just go back and have a look. So just looking at that, I couldn't actually see anything wrong with the stencil. I thought maybe it wasn't transparent there, but it is. It's all good. Thinking it might have something to do with my Cricut machine. There will always be, well, I find there are little bits just sort of left in there, but they easily pop out. And they're cut, they just haven't fallen out when it's weeded, so I go through and take those out. I can always just use the bottom of this stencil if I need to. I don't need to use the top part, but I really don't think that would matter. If I used it, it would still look really pretty. I'm just taking these off, the bits that are left over on the mat, and you could probably use these for something. Like stick them on something, a bit of furniture maybe, and paint over it. It'd be like, sort of look like a bit of an embossed feature. What do you think? It would have to be primed because this is pretty slick, so the paint probably wouldn't stick to it unless it was primed, but it would be pretty, wouldn't it? Like a pretty feature too. And it's also bendy as well, so I might keep these and make something with it. I'll try that out, even if it's on a piece of my own furniture, just to try it out. So the third stencil I'm doing is this palm leaf looking one, and this one's, there's a lot of cuts in this, so I'm really not sure how it will go. The 7mm Mylar is a lot thicker than the 4mm, but it is also a lot thinner than the 10. So I'm just wondering how this will, it will cut okay, I'm thinking, but I'm just not sure. It's going to be a bit floppy. But anyway, I'm just going to check that my settings are right. Yep, 350, 3 times cut, D-point blade. So I click on the stencil 7mm Mylar, put it back onto more, and cut that out. I'll just put up on the screen here how you actually put those settings in. If you don't, which it won't be in there because I put mine in, so I'll just pop it up on the screen now. What you do when you go into your Cricut and you don't have that setting in there. But as you can see here, little bits are missing, and that's I think because my mat is getting a little bit unsticky and when it cuts through, like it's cut through 3 times, it tends to pull it up as well. So I think that's the problem there. And a lady actually commented on one of my videos and said it's a bit easier if you actually peel the mat off the stencil, and that's what I did there. In some instances I may need to use just get that little knife out. And I'm going to keep these and do what I said before. And maybe use them on some furniture or something really well. Also, it just is in spots, just a little bit attached, but it just will come off with a bit of patience. So I'll keep that. So like I said there, I think the roller has pushed it back, but if I bend it down the other way a bit more, it should be good. And with this one, I'd probably use a bit of adhesive spray on the reverse side. So I'm going to have to buy a new deep point blade. This actually wasn't cutting the flowers properly. Like you can feel it has made a bit of a score in the Mylar, but when I had a look at the blade, it's all wobbly and it's not cutting properly. So I'm going to have to buy a new one. I might see if I've got another one there and we'll try that. So I just thought I'd try a few more designs. And as you can see here, there are some little bits missing again. The smaller the cuts, this tends to happen. And I think it could be the surface area that the mat is sitting on, so tiny surface area, and there's not enough for it to stick on when it's cut. But you can see this one weeds off really well. I think the bigger the cut too, the bigger the design and the straighter the lines, the easier it will cut and the easier that it will weed. But you can see that it's a really beautiful crisp cut, so I'm really pleased with the settings I've chosen. So the 350 cut, 3 times pass, and the deep point blade.
When you walk in the room, everyone just stops and stares.
I hope you all enjoyed this video today and you got something out of it, and you can try them out for yourself and try my settings and just see what happens. It should work. Make sure though you have an extra strong grip mat, and make sure you have a good deep point blade, like a sharp blade, and then it should all be fine. So I hope you all enjoyed the video today, and I will see you all in next week's video. Have a great week and bye for now.
What are you doing here? I tried to escape this feeling of fate. What are you doing here? After all you put me through, my mind always lands on you. I got these emotions, played it out 100 times. I don't know if it's right.